Welcome back, everyone. We are talking about a bill that's in the legislature. Passed 4 years ago. It's back up now. Should the Bible become the official state book? It did pass 4 years ago. It was then vetoed by Governor Bill Haslam. Bill Haslam said it trivialized the Bible. It is now back up. These are the two sponsors. We have with us Representative Jerry Sexton, Republican from Granger County, and then Senator Mark Pody, a Republican from Lebanon. You all are not sure Bill Lee's, the current governor's, stance on this, but you are optimistic this bill will pass in the legislature.
That's a very good statement. We both believe we'll be able to pass it in our respective houses, and it'll be up to then the current governor to make a decision. If he decides to veto a bill, it just takes a simple majority to override that veto.
Now, one of my first questions was about the separation of church and state. You said it's not in the Constitution. Now, you have just showed me, if I may read the line here.
Absolutely.
So in the Constitution, the words separation of church and state are not in there, but it does say in Section 3, and you're showing me this, no preference shall ever be given by law to any religious establishment or mode of worship. No preference shall ever be given. So how does this not give a preference if you make the Bible the official state book?
Okay, so if we were to look at so many different religions, if we were to say Jehovah's Witnesses, they use a lot of the Bible. If we use the Jewish faith, they use a lot of the Bible. If we use Christians, they use a lot of the Bible. If we use Catholics, they use a lot of the Bible. There's so many that will use a lot of the Bible. Which one are we saying that we're lifting up? Which one are we saying that this is the one that if we're doing it on a religious basis, we're not saying that this is the one and we're supporting that. This book has influenced across so many the decades that we've had in history that it's not just the fact that it was a book written for religious purposes. This book has changed who we are. It's our DNA. And what we're doing in this state, in this city, is we're printing this book, we're shipping this book, we are putting it around the world. This book is printed more than any other book in the nation. This book is printed actually more than any book in the world. Over and over and over, this is where we are doing it. It employs thousands of people.
And may I add, they're taking sales tax, employees taxes, and business tax from the printing of this Bible. So, you know, it is ingrained in our government because there's thousands, millions of dollars in taxes that this state and this city takes in because of the Bible.
When you say that there are lots of different, you mentioned several different denominations, but no preference. Clearly the preference, the Bible is a Christian document, sacred text, and so how can you say there's no preference if it's a Christian, which is a religion, and then there are other religions? How can you say, again, it's not a preference toward Christianity?
All right, so we are not saying that this book is going to be in any way the religious book that somebody has to use or need, or in any way that we're saying that is what they want.
That's the key. You know, it doesn't force any one thing upon anyone. The door is still open for anyone to bring the Quran, to make it the state book. I don't think it would pass because it doesn't have any history here, but it doesn't say that it's against the law to bring it. You can bring any book that you wanted to. We'd just like to see this book because of the culture that it's had in Tennessee and in America to be our state book.
So I want to add one more thing before. I know
Sure.
you got a point, but if this book was any other book that was printed as much as it is in Tennessee, if this was a different book that employed so many, if this book had been shipped out so many times around the world, it just happened it wasn't the Bible, we'd all be jumping up and down saying, yes, it's the book that was in Tennessee, whether we call it Tennessee history, whatever. Just happens to be a religious book, and that's where some of the discussion is.
All right, let's go back to the phones. Let's go to David. David, are you there?
Yes.
Go right ahead.
600 years ago, Bibles did not mention a woman named Eve. 600 years ago, Jesus Christ of Nazareth was born before the Jewish New Year, Rosh Hashanah. That occurs in early September. That puts Christ's birthday in the month of Augustus. And rest in peace, Marcia Trimble, the man that raped and murdered you should have got the death penalty and should have been charged with hate crime statutes. And
all right, do you have a point? What is your point about this topic? Your point is what?
That the current Bible you're reading or referring to is, you just may as well say, why not make it A Tale of Two Cities? That's a good book.
So you're saying there are inaccuracies in the Bible? Is that what you're saying?
All biblical scholars will agree with what I just said. 600 years ago, there was no mention of a woman named Eve. That was put in there by King James and King George, and the Church of England. Okay. King George and the Church of England moved Christ's birthday from August to December. Okay, so there have been major changes. There's certainly things in there that are contradictory. What do you say to what he's saying there?
Okay, so if somebody were to say, Christmas was Jesus actually born on December 25th or whatever, I don't have any proof of the exact day or whatever, so I'm not trying to put that to say I can prove every single fact in there. I am trying to say this, though. There's no other book that is printed, shipped out, and shaped the Tennessee as much as this book has. Okay.
Do you want to?
No.
Okay, that's fine. Let's go with Jimmy here. Hello, Jimmy.
Yes, sir.
Go right ahead.
I just think this is the most idiotic conversation, the biggest waste of time. The one in the middle being an elected official repeating himself over and over with answers and reasons for this. What does the Bible, quote unquote, being in school or fighting to get it back in school mean? I don't know. Does it have anything to do with math class, science class, social studies, all those things? When I was in school, it was all I could do to keep up with those subjects. I read the Bible with my family at a very young age. I never saw anything. I think anybody could bring a Bible to school and probably read it at recess if they want, right? Are you talking about you want to get a Bible class scheduled in the school? The day's only so long. As far as the Bible being the state book, doing anything, like you said, it doesn't do anything or make anyone do anything, but we use it in our government. We lay hands on it. Even when you do that, it doesn't do anything, has no magic truth-telling powers to transfer any energy up into anybody's hand or from your hand to the Bible. It does nothing.
All right, so you're opposed to this.
I think President Trump could probably put his hand on it and look you right in the eye and lie to you. It does
okay, all right. So, again, people are passionate. It riles people up. He's opposed. He goes straight to the school thing. And frankly, when I hear you all talk, I do feel like that's maybe where you all are headed. But I guess respond to what he had to say if you can. His concern about it going back into schools, you think it should be in schools, I guess. But is this an avenue to get it back in schools?
Okay, I'm not trying to do that. That is not what my goal is. That is not what this bill is about either. And I've not run anything or suggested anything that we're trying to put this back into schools. I am trying to say that this is the book that if we have a way to recognize historical things that have happened, that have shaped our state, this is the book that would do it. So if we have one book that we can say has changed our state more than anything else, or shaped it, it'd be this book.
And I would agree with Senator Pody. That's not my goal with this bill. Make no mistake about it. But would I like to see it back in school? Absolutely, and I'm not ashamed of that. And I would do what I could to try to get it back in there. But this has nothing to do with that. You could believe it or not believe it, but it is true. Now, he and I both will fight to try to get it back in school, whether this passes or don't, because we just feel like that it's important for people to read it. Our 10 Commandments, who would argue with thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal? We don't argue against those things. The Bible is a book of love. And it's about love, and it's about redemption, it's about sacrifice, it's about God's love for us, that He gave His only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in Him should not perish but have everlasting life. So it's a love story to men. But you don't have to read it. God doesn't make you, and He could, but He don't.
All right, let's go to Teresa. Hello, Teresa. Are you there, Teresa?
Patricia?
Yes. Oh, Patricia? Yeah, go right ahead.
I would love to have it put up for a vote because I think it would pass. And I'm 85. I remember back in the days of school, we all had to read the Bible, a verse of the Bible, first thing off in the mornings.
Okay.
So I think that yes, I need to get away from TV.
Thank you for watching, though.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, well, very good.
Yes,
Yeah.
this is a great subject, and I would love to see it the state book for the simple reason I think we'd see a lot of difference in our children if we would put the Bible back and teach them. And it's up to the persons, the people that's reading it, and the wants to read it. It's up to them if they want to, but to put it there and give them the chance. Now, no one has a chance unless it's read at home, and there's very few that is being read at home. So I would love to see, yes, put in schools.
Okay.
And be the state book. I would love to see the state book because it deserves that title.
Okay. All right, we have to take a break. All right, we'll take a break. If you're online, hold on. If you want to call in, we can take a couple more calls. Take a break. Be back right after this.